Mic check, Eric.
Testing, checking, 1, 2, 3, test, 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 test.
Keep going there.
Test, check, 1, 2, testing, checking, 1, 2, 3, test, test. Test, check, 1, 2. So you get a little over here. And, yeah.
Yep. Bob, can you give us a mic check, please?
Absolutely. Test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. Test, test.
Roger, mic check, please.
Sure, test 1, 2, 3, 4, check 1.
You can read the phone book and make you go. Go on, Roger.
We're excited for this.
They're not looking right at the camera, so you might want to give them leave room.
I'm on Kate's mic, I can hear myself. Oh my god, you might want to turn that off or down.
Coming up tonight on Chasing the Cup, the ultimate goal, Roger Neal and Bob Howard are in studio to talk about the bsens March to the Calder Cup. Plus, Chris Whalen sits down with bsens captain Ryan Keller to discuss what it'll take to bring Binghamton's first hockey championship home. Plus, you've seen it and you'll love it, the glorious facial accessory that is Chris Whalen's playoff beard. The bsens give us all some very much needed grooming tips as Chasing the Cup,
That's the ultimate goal.
you're darn right it is, starts now.
Ryan Keller, Kristen at home! The captain with the overtime winner in Binghamton on to the Calder Cup Finals! 12 wins down, 4 more to go!
Well, excitement is in the air. The city is abuzz as the bsens are in the Calder Cup Finals for the first time in club history. I'm Eric Columbia, and I'm joined by Roger Neal and Bob Howard. But before we give these guys the floor, could we possibly have an opponent for the bsens? Houston was up 3-0 less than a week ago, but Hamilton has forced things into a game number 6. The Bulldogs had a two-goal leads, but it's 4-4 in double overtime. Nigel Dawes, the former Ranger, unties it, sending things into a decisive game number 7. They are now the third team to force a game 7 after trailing 3-0 in a series. The final in this one, 5-4, Hamilton coming out of nowhere. It seems like these guys were dead from game 3 on, but they've dominated the rest here, tying this at 3. Game 7 going to be Tuesday night down in Houston, 7:05 p.m. Let's once again reintroduce our two guests. Over to my left right here, we have Roger Neal, the host of your own show on News Radio 1290 WNBF. And then over to my right, we have Bob Howard, who's on the Power Play Post Show. He hosts a lot of good stuff, the aficionado of everything AHL, so we speak. And we're gonna start with you tonight. Okay. The bsens, we thought they were finally gonna have their opponent, but things don't seem to go that way tonight. Hamilton forcing game 7, only done 3 times ever in the AHL. Both of those teams go on to win. You know, who's going to come out this time? Is it going to be Hamilton or Houston? Who are the bsens going to be playing?
A lot of coaches will talk about that there's really not momentum in hockey, and I kind of disagree. I think this is kind of proof that there is momentum. They built up momentum in Game 4, Game 5. They've done it now in Game 6, pushing this to a Tuesday night Game 7. I think it's very important to understand that most likely Hamilton will probably come out playing guns loaded. They're not afraid to play in Houston now. I mean, that's pretty simple. I think they got a great chance of moving on to the Calder Cup Finals.
I mean, now Houston has been in this position before. If Houston actually does prevail, Binghamton, as the bsens, has not been in this position before. The city of Binghamton hasn't been there since 1982 when the Whalers were in town. Roger, you're the voice of those Whalers. Can you draw any comparisons to what it might be like come Calder Cup playoff times in between both of these teams and kind of how the city is going to react?
Well, I think it's going to be a fabulous time because I know back in the 81-82 season, when you get to that stage, not only, that was before even the Binghamton Mets were here, so I mean, you captured everything. But I think one of the outstanding things that people will see is that you really may see almost any NHL coach or GM or scout in the stands at these games. I mean, all the focus is on this and the Stanley Cup Finals. And so the excitement level will be at a peak, I think, that the fans have not seen maybe, well, certainly since 81-82, maybe even going back before that. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, what was it like, you know, just at that time to be involved with that team and to be able just to watch all that excitement go down?
That was tremendous. I think, you know, you see so many outstanding players come through. Ken Holland, of course, now the GM of the Red Wings, was our goaltender. Gilles Lupien was an enforcer, had almost 300 minutes in penalties. Ross Yates was starting his pro career, had a 20-goal season. Bobby Sullivan was a Rookie of the Year. So a lot of similarities. I think one of the big things, the game has changed a lot. I mean, going back to that era of 81-82, you would be hard-pressed to find a game without several, if not more, fighting major penalties. And I think there's been one so far for the Sens in the whole playoff series. So the game has changed a little bit in more just skating and finesse, I think, than it was perhaps then. But again, each team had standouts, and you could draw a lot of comparisons. I do think one of the huge pluses now for the Sens, I mean, they just keep wave after wave of people coming at you. And so there's no one real line you can key on, or even 2 lines. And you could see in that series with Charlotte, I mean, they just keep coming and coming. And it's almost like eventually you keep pounding away and something will break. And I think they have that confidence now. And I can't wait to see how they play in the final series. I mean, it would take an incredible effort by anybody opposing them to beat them.
Now, it's funny that you mentioned Kenny Holland, who was in net for that series back in 82-83, because I think you guys might agree with me on this one. The turning point, it seems to be, in these playoffs is when they make the switch after, I believe it, game number 4, Barry Brust into Robin Lehner. And Lehner has just been, I guess, kind of like the energy starter for this. He's gave like a solid rock foundation, especially for the last line of defense. You know, and I'm going to pose this question to you, Bob. How has Robin Lehner been able to be so good at such a young age?
Well, he actually had a very rocky start to the season. He went back and forth between Ottawa and Binghamton, and I think he thought he was going to be in Ottawa a little bit more and get a little bit more playing time up there. They went to him and said, you know what, you're going to have to go down to Binghamton, maybe even next season play possibly up to 60 games in Binghamton. I think it humbled him a little bit. He's come back, and I think with what he has to do now is just continue doing what he's doing so far in the series. He got 10 wins in the regular season. He's now got 10 wins in the postseason. You know, in 35 starts for the Binghamton Senators, he's got 20 wins. That's a pretty good start for his pro career. I think he's done it pretty well. The Charlotte series, he was phenomenal. I think you really got to look at a guy who essentially is going to probably be a starter in the NHL, and he's going to make his mark right now in the Calder Cup, probably in these finals.
You know, and it's funny because he said during one of the post-game interviews is that, you know, he could feel a little tension between him and the fans during the regular season, and you know what? Everybody loved Barry Bruss so much, and I don't know if maybe that kind of, you know, made him upset or something, but now he's kind of fell in love. He's become ingratiated with this you know, community, the fans, which is such a great fan base. You know, how was he able to make that transition?
Well, he called Barry the toast of the town, and still the toast of the town. And I think that's just, you know, him being a little bit humbled. I think he can win over these fans by just continuing to do what he's doing. I think he already has won over the fans, and it's great for him. He's a great kid. Even in that post video that you saw online, that a lot of people saw online, of them winning over Charlotte in Game 4, you saw the excitement of him when he came into the locker room, and I think it's going to continue to grow for him. His confidence right now is at the best that it can be, and that's very important for the Binghamton Senators.
You know, if we're going to talk about calming influences, we're going to talk about Coach K, you know, the bsens bench boss, the leading man. We all know the phrase by now. You know, they're not going to get too high, they're not going to get too low after a win or a loss, and once their heads hit the pillow, they're going to forget about that game, win or loss, and they're just going to move on to the next contest. You know, I'm going to pose this question to you, Roger. How important has Coach K been to this team, considering how we've had other coaches like Corey Clouston and Don Knockbauer, kind of almost the exact opposite of what Coach K in his demeanor is?
I don't think that you can emphasize enough what he and Coach Sterling have done for this team. They have literally held it together over that portion of the season, midway through to maybe two-thirds in, when you had so many East Coast Hockey League players filling the gap here, with Ottawa trying to do anything to straighten out their season or showcase guys for trades or whatever they had to do. But they kept it going, and I don't recall ever hearing in any interview him singling out someone, criticizing them, at least openly. And I think that he has handled everything in masterful fashion. These guys want to play for him. They love playing for him. But he has been a player's coach. And I think, A, he's got to be Coach of the Year in the American Hockey League. And I know it's way too soon to talk about, but if Ottawa doesn't consider him, they're nuts. He's outstanding.
Let's talk about that right quick. I mean, you know, we're gonna have a one-on-one conversation with him starting on Thursday. But Chris Whalen, when he was talking with him, he posed the question because he always talks about how the American Hockey League is so difficult to coach in, because when you boil it down, the guys really don't want to be there. They want to be up in that NHL. The same must be said for AHL coaches. They want to be at that next level as well. You know, if that comes a calling, will he go? And does that pose a distraction for him or maybe the club at all?
If Ottawa calls, he goes. If not, you can pretty much, say that he won't be in Binghamton, because if the parent club calls you and says, we want you to come up and work with us, you're going to go. I mean, it's that simple. I think he does want to. I actually asked him in the post game of Game 4 about, what he did last year with the under 18 juniors, because they won the title, and now coming into this finals and everything. He said he wanted to be a professional hockey coach again. I think that's very important. So I think if they call, he goes.
All right, now, when we were prepping for this a couple days ago, you stated that this is a hockey town first, sports town second.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask both of you guys, if they happen to pull this, the bsens pull this through, what is this going to mean to the city, and where does this rank all time in the whole sports area for the not only Binghamton but the southern tier?
I would think it would be difficult to find anything that would surpass it. I mean, let's face it, we've had a tough time economically, tough time with the floods back a few years ago, unemployment, all these things, and this is a way for the whole, not just city, but the whole area to rally around something extremely positive. The owners have done a great job. Tom Mitchell, Bob Carr, all these guys have been involved for a number of years. They've worked like crazy to have something like this come close to happening. And I think that I mean, the whole area is just going to explode, and it's huge. It's a very positive thing, a plus for the whole region.
All right, and real quick, you up.
I think it'll revitalize the fanship here in Binghamton. They've suffered over the past 4 or 5 years of not having the best hockey and missing the playoffs for a very long time. First time any team in Binghamton has gone this long without making the playoffs. I think it revitalizes the fanship, which obviously helps the ownership, and it just would be a great thing for this area.
All right, real quick, you can see Bob Howard on the Power Play Post Show.
Yep.
Oh, you can hear him anyway, you can't see him. And you can always hear Roger Neal on every morning. So give us the times real quick.
5:30 till 9 tomorrow morning.
All right, WNBF. All right, Chris Whalen, when we come back on Chasing the Cup, the ultimate goal, he checks in with us and sits down with El Capitan, Ryan Keller, and they're going to talk everything from his time over in Europe to what it means now to go for the Calder Cup. Stay with us. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Need a mic check? That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
You guys did great. That's perfect.
As the captain of the Binghamton Senators, Ryan Keller is expected to be the leader of
We have to win the Calder Cup. It is the year. This is, the future is right now, like they said, and we are going to win the Calder Cup.
As the captain of the Binghamton Senators, Ryan Keller is expected to be the leader of the team on and off the ice. Well, he certainly lived up to his moniker, as it was Keller who netted the game-winning goal in overtime in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. We sat down with the captain to get his first-hand account of the 2011 Calder Cup playoffs.
Ryan, I'm going to ask you to rewind to Wednesday night, 13:05 into overtime, off the face-off, puck comes to you, you put it in the back of the net. and the rest is history. What was that moment like for you?
Well, yeah, I guess it starts maybe even a couple seconds before that. They iced the puck and we're out there. And I noticed one of the defensemen that I guess didn't have any part of the play that resulted in the goal, but I noticed him kind of hunched over on his stick, and he was pretty tired. And I think a few people noticed that their players were kind of been out there for a while and worn out. So we went into the draw, and that Dodge, he's pretty good on faceoffs usually, but Smitty won it straight back, and I just tried to get it off as quick as I could, and caught the goalie. I think he wasn't quite ready for it, and I saw the mesh kind of ripple and the light go on. I saw the mesh ripple, I thought maybe it went in, and I saw the light go on, and then I knew it did, and then it was, you kind of just, emotions take over and start running around like a chicken with your head cut off.
What was it like to clinch it home in front of all these fans who've supported you guys the entire year?
Yeah, it was very important for us. I think we didn't want to let it slip away and let the series extend too far. And for these fans who have been there for us the whole way, it was a great treat for them to be able to see us do it, and especially with the history behind it too, and how long it's been since the finals. Our teams made it to the finals in Binghamton, and all that stuff added in there. It was great for them to be able to witness that.
The Manchester series, you guys had your backs against the wall. You were down 3-1, clawed all the way back 3 straight overtime games. The Portland series, it did go 6 games, but you certainly had more control in that series. And then the Charlotte series, you guys come out and you sweep, dominated that series. So what's changed about this team from the Manchester series to now going into the Calder Cup finals?
Yeah, well, our line combinations have changed, a little bit, and we've been playing together now for quite a while. So I think some lines have some continuity and are getting used to each other and are comfortable with each other. And just as a group, we have a lot more confidence right now. We know what it takes in the playoffs to win, and we're not, as high and low as our emotions are. We're kind of an even team right now. Even last game there, they score right before overtime, and nobody got too down in the room, and everybody stayed focused. And we just worry about what's next instead of what's happened. And I think in the first round we weren't quite doing that, and we were letting leads get away from us and getting too comfortable and that kind of stuff. So we've learned from our mistakes, which is good, and we haven't had to worry about them since.
I'm guessing for you it's kind of been a whirlwind few years here. You went overseas and were playing, now you're back in the States and playing for a Calder Cup. Just take me through that briefly, and what's it been like for you over the past few years?
Yeah, it's been definitely a long road, and I've taken maybe not the most traditional path to get here, but ultimately, obviously, the goal is still to play in the NHL, but if you're not in the NHL, this is probably, I'd say, the hardest league in the world to try and win a championship in, and we have a chance to do that. So it's a great opportunity that we're all trying to take full advantage of.
Well, you have at least 4 games left in this season, possibly 7. What does this team have to do to bring the Calder Cup back to Binghamton?
I think just try and keep on doing what we're doing. We don't want to get too uptight and too focused in on the end result. I think, and just take one game at a time, and like I said, worry about what we do, because our opponent's going to be playing the best hockey of their season for sure. That's this time of year. That's what you get. And for us, we feel like if we play our best 60 minutes against any other team's best 60 minutes, we will come out on top.
Great stuff from Kel's, always a class act. The captain taking time to sit down with us before the biggest series of his career coming up on Thursday. I sit down with the bsens bench boss, Kurt Kleinendorf, talks about the turning point of bingo season and if the NHL is calling his name.
El Capitano, always a class act. When we come back, the bsens give us the inside story as to what makes a good playoff beer. Take a look at the facial lettuce right there, giving everyone, including CW, a couple tips on how to maintain that salad. You're watching Chasing the Cup, the ultimate goal on Fox 40.
this is our year. My husband said he has a feeling that we're going to do it, and the last time he said he had a feeling the Giants won the Super Bowl.
All right, let's break it down. Pencil thin.
The goatee,
Handlebars.
the Fu Manchu.
And the mutton chops.
All right, I think you got me on that one. Ben Stone's personal favorite. At any rate, those are all options of the things the few teams left playing hockey could cultivate as the playoffs continue, and I recently caught up with the bsens to talk about their wild whiskers. If you've been watching the Sports Report over the past month, you may have noticed a new accessory to my wardrobe. No, I didn't misplace my razor. No, I didn't lose a bet. It's all in the name of hockey.
I guess that's like old tradition in hockey, like over playoffs to grow a beard.
The playoff beard, a tradition started by the New York Islanders during the 1980s, in which players do not shave until their team is eliminated from the playoffs or until they win it all. And for the bsens, not just a tradition, but also a bit of a rebellion for players who are required to be clean-shaven during the regular season.
That's what Kerr likes, and that like, it looks good when we looked at it as professional. But now we have an excuse to let our face go a little bit and grow the beard, and so I think guys are having fun with it.
Fun for guys like Patolny who can actually grow a beard. Binghamton captain Ryan Keller is also in that group, but says there are a few guys who've had a little difficulty cultivating a captivating facial salad.
There's some guys a little nervous in there about maybe the mustache is a little thin. I don't know if you guys have picked up on a few guys that added some color to their beards. Maybe it was a little thin. I'm not gonna, throw them under the bus and name names.
I'm currently cleaning up around my goatee, but according to the bsens, if you trim, it's not really a playoff beard at all.
You just got to let it go. There's some guys that are doing a lot of manscaping and stuff around it, but as you can see, I just kind of let mine go.
But there is one man on the roster who's gotten a reprieve from Patolny's rule as he hones his inner Tom Selleck.
First of all, I can't grow a full beard on my cheeks, and the second one, my neck was getting itchy, so I just left the mustache. And I think it's funny too.
So whether you opt for the Magnum PI, the traditional, or something that may one day resemble a beard, there's really only one rule everyone can follow.
I think you just got to embrace what you got and work with it.
Which seems to be paying off for the Sens in the 2011 Calder Cup playoffs. Chris Whalen, Fox 40 Sports.
We are in the home stretch, but like the bsens playoff run, we're going to need an overtime session.
We'll be back right after this. You're watching Chasing the Cup, the ultimate goal on Fox 40.
hard. I mean, we don't even know the opponent yet.
Right.
But I would say the way Binghamton's playing, Binghamton at 6.
It was a great show, CW. Why don't you say we do this in like 6 days or so?
Sounds good to me. How about Thursday? You doing anything?
I think that's a plan. All right, for Christopher Whalen and everyone here at Fox 40, I'm Eric Columbia. Thanks for watching Chasing the Cup, the ultimate goal. We're going to leave you now with a look at the best moments of the postseason so far.